Morning folks, David Hubbell here, and it is Saturday, November the 12th, 2022, and it's time for our visit to the Mirliton vine. Not much has really changed this week. Weather conditions have been pretty good. We had rains last weekend, and the plant's still thriving. I think we expect to get some upper 30s this week. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to check the dew point again and see if there's going to be issues for frost. As we talked about before, the vine's probably too massive at this point to cover from any frost damage, but if it's only going to be frosting or just getting close for a couple hours, I'm not going to be worried about it here in Mobile. You can always use the sprinkler system too that Dr. Hill's talked about. So let's go check out the vine. Okay. Hey, don't forget, please subscribe and click that bell so you'll be alerted to all upcoming Mirliton videos. Well folks, not a lot has really changed this week. The vine is still vibrant and green from all these rains we've had. I mean, it's about the best it's looked in a couple of months, honestly. You can see that there are still some remnants of the insect damage, as I mentioned in previous weeks. But these new leaves are doing really well. Still seeing about the same amount of buds coming on. And still have about the same amount of female and male flowers. So I'm not going to bother going through and showing all those. I will hand pollinate them just because someone asked the question. It seems like I'm doing that a lot, and you really don't have to. In my particular case, I've been very protective of this vine. I've had it 12 years, and my intention has always been, of course I like to eat them, but the intention is to make sure that I have fruit to propagate going forward. So, you know, if I can help out the bees in any way or the other insects, that's what I try to do, just so that I can ensure, at least as long as I'm around, that my Mirliton plant has the best opportunity to survive and keep going. And so that's why I do that with these, but you don't necessarily have to do it. But like I said, to me, after almost losing the vine, and I actually had two to begin with, believe it or not, this is all one, I just decided I would make it a point to do whatever I could to prolong their life or to improve their yields. So interesting inverted Mirliton. We've still got this one going. Probably pick it sometime today. Got this one on the back end as well. And this one kind of surprised me yesterday when I was looking. Didn't expect to see it. That's a pretty nice little cluster of them. You can kind of see there's about 3 of them in a row. Probably leave those on for a little longer. I'm really surprised that I haven't seen more on this backside. Usually I get quite a few. But like I said, we trimmed some trees earlier this year. So maybe that affected how the Mirlitons are growing. Here's one on the underneath side. Actually, there's another little one going there too. Usually I get quite a few up underneath here as well. So I've been a little surprised that I hadn't really seen it. But as I've learned over the last 12 years or so, one thing that you'll find out through the course of a lot of questions that were asked from folks is that, you know, not everything is going to be a given. Some years, very experienced Mirliton growers will actually get huge yields, and then some years they won't get anything or very little. Right now, I'm estimating maybe, you know, in the next week or so, I might have a dozen picked, and that is very low compared to what I had. But I'm hoping with the weather behaving like it has, if we can get another month, maybe I can get closer to 20 or 30. There's another little one back on the back side you might be able to see. like I said, I keep thinking I need to dig through here a little bit more and see what I can find. This is another back end here. So you can see a lot of these are really pretty much spaced out throughout the yard. Yeah, I knew I had some back in here. I need to pick that. Like I said, sometimes you know that you've seen some and you go back and you can't find them, and then you almost have to go back with a different light. I know some of our growers in Louisiana thought they only had maybe 50 or so, and they ended up with a couple hundred. So like I said, when you got the dense foliage here, it's really kind of hard to get them all. The good news is that if you miss a few and they sprout, well, you got some stock for next year. Or at least maybe you can sell or share, however you prefer to do it. People are asking about selling the Mirliton sprouts versus giving them away. Part of the thing is that over the years we've found that some people don't take it, I don't want to say take it as seriously, but if you have to put some money into it and invest in it a little bit more, you're a little more apt to take care of it. And there's some prices that some people have charged for some of the Mirliton that may seem a little bit on the high side or outrageous side, but the thing about it is that once again, if they're putting a lot of money, if they're willing to commit that amount of money to that, they're more than likely going to do what they can to preserve it. So like I said, on one hand it'd be nice and altruistic to give them away in hopes that they would just grow freely, but you know, that was probably what was done for the better part of the 20th century, and you know, until Katrina hit and we realized we were on the brink of losing a lot, then you can kind of see that you almost have to take a little more drastic measures. So like I said, I think that if you got to pay for a Mirliton, it's a good heirloom variety, that's a good sign that you're gonna be committed to taking care of it. That's just my opinion. So anyway, I just got finished doing a survey more in depth than I can usually do with the camera, and I'm actually pretty optimistic. I thought originally when I mentioned that I'd get maybe a dozen, I can easily see a dozen small, mid-sized Mirlitons out there now. So I think the next 2 weeks I'm going to really see a increase in my picking rate, barring of course any type of freeze issues. Like I said, I'm not overly worried about the frost coming up. I'm going to check the dew points and just see whether I need to put the sprinkler on, but quite honestly, I think I've been down as low as 31, 32 here, and the vines managed to limp through okay. So I'm just going to watch it. Like I said before, I'm up underneath this big oak. Got to more worry about that damn branch falling down, which the people we paid to trim our trees didn't get to. And I will end up, like I said, hopefully that provides enough of a canopy between all these trees to keep the frost off of us. As far as the other question, I did about 21 hand pollinated Mirlitons. What I'm starting to see more this season that I didn't probably recognize as much in the past, when things were a little more abundant, is that I think the vine tends to go through phases where you may have a period of time where one portion of it has a lot of male flowers, and then you go to the female flowers and then they die off. But then you come back about 3 weeks later and there's a resurgence in the male flowers in that same area and a resurgence in the female flowers. So even though the vines themselves are constantly growing and dying off, I think as the new growth comes out in the different areas, like I said, in this particular area, I'm seeing a lot of the female flowers again. And I hand pollinated the last 2 weeks here. You know, I've got one here, I've got this one coming up there. And I've got another one there. So I'm seeing good progress on doing that. And like I said, I've got plenty of bees around here, but just get real protective of these vines, and in order to make sure you have them for the future, you'll pretty much do whatever you can. Ideally, it'd be nice to have a big way to cover all this against the freezes, but I can't really handle that. So anyway, that's really the update this week. I'm not going to really do anything else to it. We'll get some rains and some cool weather, back to kind of a normal cycle. So I'm just going to watch, and I'm going to check and see if I got to pick any during the week. And then hopefully next Saturday, I'll be showing you maybe a half a dozen more. I'm up to about 5 or 6 right now, so we'll see. Well, that's what we got this week. Looks like we're coming along pretty good. Should be picking a lot more, like I said, in the next 2 weeks, so stay tuned. That'll be the fun part to see. Not a lot has changed here, but I'll keep seeing more flowers, male and female. So hopefully these videos will continue to bring value to you and help you learn a little bit more about your vine. So please do me a favor, if you like the video, give it a like or a thumbs up, share with all your Mirliton loving friends on YouTube or other social media, and make sure you subscribe to mirliton.org, mirliton.org, on both Facebook as well as to the email newsletter, so you'll be alerted to all new updates that we have. People will be selling Mirlitons pretty soon. In fact, some have already started selling some sprouts, so you can check it out on the classified ads at mirliton.org. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, or you can send them to me at rpcajun2r@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.